world changes soon. Can get a doobie on a plane, but there's Uzis in our schools. Every dude who touched a boob or a booty getting me too. What you expect from the kids who went to Hooters after school? We're all triggered and defensive. We're all racist and we're sexist. We all grew up watching South Park. How are we offended? Now being fat is beautiful. Name a thing that you can't do. Jumping jacks, run a mile, live past 42. Man, it used to be cool to just flip a bird to the system, and now it's trendy to be triggered.
Welcome to the Red Pill Sports and Entertainment Show. I am your host, Albert Apache, and as usual, brought to you by Open Source, Self-Defense, Fitness, and Grappling. Alright guys, let's go ahead and talk about today's show. So, we are going to talk about Panza versus Craig Jones and who's number one. Now, I tried to slow down some of the footage. It was a very quick match. I want to say it was all of about maybe 2 minutes, if that. So I really slowed down the footage so we could, or so that I could narrate what was going on in the match. So hopefully you enjoy. Please remember guys, like, subscribe, share the video, comment down below whether you agree, you disagree, or particularly if you see something that I didn't see in the match. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get into the show. So just recently we had another Who's Number One on Flow Grappling, and on this one we had Luis Panza versus Craig Jones. If you're not familiar with Luis Panza, he is a black belt, does have a game that is a leg lock style game. He likes to play from like the 50-50 position, go for knee bars, go for straight ankles, things of that nature. That being said, his game is very IBJJF friendly, rule set friendly, so keep that in mind. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at this match and go through it. It was a very, very quick match, so I tried to slow down and freeze frame some things that really, in my mind, tell the story of what happened in this match. So let's go ahead and check it out. So going into this match, guys, Panza is clearly the bigger man. He's got about 30 pounds on Craig. So the match starts and Craig immediately pulls guard. He is going to attempt to wrestle up here. You can see he's grabbing the collar tie, he's grabbing the wrist. This was all in an effort, in my opinion, to break Panza's posture and to get Panza to commit either sitting his weight back or being a little bit too pressuring forward. Now this arm drag played a lot into Craig's game for the setup. It kept Panza from doing a step back pass because he couldn't take his arm with him, and it also really made him commit to sitting back because Craig was constantly pulling him forward. So they continue on. Craig continues to wrestle up from that position, and Craig is doing a really good job of trying to get some kind of reaction out of Panza. Finally, you're going to see here Craig getting to his Z-guard. Now, this is not where Craig actually gets to his submission, and the reason why is you're noticing that Panza is controlling Craig's right arm. This is not allowing Craig to invert and go after and isolate his right leg, Panza's right leg, that is. They continue on, continue to wrestle from bottom. Now, as we go into this sequence here, we're going to see Craig go back to that Z-guard. But here is the difference, guys. Look at as Craig dives for that leg. Notice that Panza has zero control of Craig's right arm or shoulder. This allows him to come across and there, frame. So now he can get his leg all the way across. Now he has his leg to frame while he's yanking on that leg, isolating it, getting his weight up off of him. Here, now Panza tries to run away once, and he's not able to get away. Craig, of course, was expecting it. Here, as we go into this next sequence, I want you to notice as Panza puts his hands down on the ground, look at Craig's hips. He shoots them up and bites, crossing the leg over. And of course, here Panza gets submitted. That's the end of the match. Now, what I really noticed, guys, was the fact that once Panza's leg was entangled within Craig's, it seemed as though he had a very unaware mindset to what needed to happen with his heel. His heel just kind of floated out in space. Those who play legs quite a bit in the no-gi game will tell you that when you get into a leg entanglement, you have to hide your heel. Now, this may have been what happened with Panza because he is a good leg locker. He's, plenty versed in leg locks, so he has to understand defenses of leg locks to some extent. That being said, remember that in IBJJF, the heel hook is something that is frowned upon. So one of the defenses, a classic defense for legs in IBJJF, is to quote unquote put on the boot, which is where you pretty much push your leg deeper into the person's grasp. So as they have the wrap with their arm, you push your foot deeper into the wrap of their arm and you flex your toes back. Now, that's really a great defense against straight ankle locks. And even to a certain extent, it really helps against toe holds. That being said, it exposes your heel for heel hooks because essentially you're pushing your heel outward. What Panza should have done should have been to find a way to turn his toes away from Craig and get his heel against Craig's ribs. Now, I'm sure he knows that. Okay, it's a big difference between actually grappling in the heat of the moment and drilling something or practicing something or saying something from the outside looking in. I'm sure he knew that, but it might have been the fact that being in IBJJF so long, rolling that particular rule set has his mindset of, oh, I need to put my boot on immediately, because it wasn't like there was a ton of time there. I had that on super slow motion. I want to say it was at 1/3 speed. So you saw how fast it was. It was maybe 2 seconds, 1/3 speed. So that means it was, a half a second in real time that Craig reached back and grabbed a hold of the heel, and there was really nowhere for him to go. I mean, he had to tap, or his knee was going to get blown up. But really interesting match. I really like the way that Craig was patient. I know it might not have seemed like it if you watch that match in full speed. It seems like Craig just flies through the match, but if you notice, he was very patient. He didn't force his Z guard. He waited for his opportunity to put his Z guard in the position he wanted. He knew he was going to have a hard time being twisted up in his Z guard when he had his Z guard in, but Panza was keeping control of that arm and not allowing him to turn and to frame against his face. So he was controlling his right arm. And so Craig abandoned it, reset, came back, and when he got it the second time, it was that ability to frame and keep Panza away from him, to keep that space so that he could get his shielding leg across as he hugged the leg with both arms. And that's what made the big difference. And I've been watching a ton of Craig, and I think this is really what makes a big difference in Craig's entry from Z-guard into leg locks, more so than other people. This is what really defines him, is his ability to create his space to get his legs in the position he wants. He really likes that inversion, kicking the leg over, bringing it across, bringing that knee shield all the way across. He really likes that setup, and that requires that you have the space to do it. And one of the ways you have to do that is you have to have that arm free to really put up a frame. So anyhow, guys, that's what I got. Again, Danaher Death Squad just running away from the competition. This was, I hate to say it because Panza's a great competitor, but this was an annihilation. I mean, this was quick. This was fast. and Craig is just getting a great reputation for being a finisher. Honestly, if people are not stalling against Craig Jones and they're actually trying to play their game, it's a no contest. I mean, you can go into EBI type rule sets with Craig and maybe get more escapes than him or more ride time than him. But if you're actually trying to get a submission in the match and you're trying to actually pass, I really see Craig as possibly being that guy. I really think he's in the front runner spot to be the man now that Gordon Ryan is going to be stepping away for a while. Okay, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I brought some kind of value to you guys. Remember, please like, subscribe, share the video, comment down below. If you saw something I didn't, that's even more spectacular because then I can learn from you. If you didn't and you don't roll jiu-jitsu and you're just interested and you think these guys are just rolling around on the ground, hopefully slowing it down, kind of talking you through, helped you out and brought you some value. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got for today. Remember, be practical, be purposeful, get fit with a purpose, guys.
We're all triggered and defensive, we're all racist and we're sexist. We all grew up watching South Park. How are we offended? Now being fat is beautiful. Name a thing that you can't do. Jumping jacks, run a mile, live past 42. Man, it used to be cool to just flip a bird to the system, and now it's trendy to be triggered and pretend you're a victim. It's my race, it's my weight, it's because I'm a Christian. I hate the internet and anyone who has an opinion. And everybody angry if you say white. Okay, fine. Pass me the brush and I'll paint my face to the shades right. Let's talk about abortion. Sorry, tell me how this works. Bacteria is life on Mars, but a heartbeat isn't life on Earth? Weird. People are so stupid.